Does Bible prophecy predict that there will be a World War III before the end times? There is no doubt that World War will be a part of the future. Christ plainly taught that there would be war prior to his return, Matthew 24:4-31. Some hold that he spoke generally of the church age in verses 4-14 and spoke of the tribulation period starting at its midpoint in verses 15-31. Others believe that Christ spoke of only the 7-year period known as the tribulation in verses 4-31. Though verses 4-14 do seem to be giving general descriptions, they parallel the description given early in Revelation 6, which records details concerning the beginning of the tribulation. Matthew 24:6-7 says there will be wars and rumors of wars. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. Here, Christ makes it very clear that war will play a significant role in the last 7 years prior to his return. To be more specific, the future does hold at least one more world war. There is nothing in Scripture that says there will be only a certain number of world wars. World Wars I and II are not explicitly mentioned in Scripture, nor is a possible Third World War. It is only the last war that is mentioned in detail, which allows the interpretation that there may be others before the final conflict. John the Apostle was shown what the end times would be like, specifically the last 7 years prior to Christ's return. Beginning in Revelation 6, he recorded what he saw concerning the future. War is found in this chapter, and continues to be a part of the unfolding events until Christ returns in chapter 19. Revelation 6:2, 4, 11-7, 12-7, 13-4, 7, 16-14, 17-14, 19-11, 19-19. Revelation 19:11 says, "In righteousness he, Christ, judges and wages war." Revelation 19:19 says John saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies, assembled to make war against him, Christ, who sat upon the horse, and against his army. Take special notice that it says the kings of the earth and their armies assembled to make war against Christ. This clearly describes a world war. It also should be noted that the victor in this war is clearly Christ, who seizes the beast/Antichrist and the false prophet and casts them into the lake of fire, and the armies that followed them are destroyed, Revelation 19:20-21. So, although there will be at least one more world war, there is no doubt of the outcome. Righteousness will prevail as Christ, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, defeats all who oppose him. It is also worth mentioning at this time that following the 1,000-year reign of Christ, there will be another uprising which could possibly have the scope of a world war. Satan will be bound for 1,000 years and then released. Upon his release, he leads a rebellion among the peoples of the earth. Christ quickly puts down this rebellion and permanently judges Satan, casting him into the lake of fire as he did with the beast/Antichrist and the false prophet, Revelation 27-10. What does it mean that there will be wars and rumors of wars before the end times? In part of his response to the disciples' question, "Tell us what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" Matthew 24:3, Jesus responded, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars," Matthew 24:6. Because of Jesus' words in this passage, whenever there is an explosion of conflict, especially in the vicinity of Israel, many people begin to wonder if the new war is a sign of the end times. If only people would read the rest of Matthew 24:6. "See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet." Understanding Jesus' statement about wars and rumors of wars to mean that warfare is a sign of the end times is the exact opposite of what he intended. Jesus was instructing us to not allow wars or rumors of wars to alarm or concern us, because the end is not yet. Similarly, Jesus spoke of false Christs, Matthew 24:5. Famines, and earthquakes, Matthew 24:7, warning that all these are the beginning of the birth pains, Matthew 24:8. Sadly, all of the things Jesus pointed to as not necessarily being signs of the end times are precisely the things most people look at as signs of the end times. Now, this is not to say that wars and rumors of wars are completely unrelated to the end times. When the Bible speaks of the end times, it describes some intense warfare. But Jesus' point seems to be that there always has been war, and, until he establishes peace in the millennial kingdom, there will always be war. Therefore, wars and rumors of war are not reliable predictors for the end times. Whether it is a civil war in Africa, strife between Israel and its neighbors, or the war on terror, no conflict today is necessarily a sign that the end times are imminent. No matter what wars and rumors of war are going on around us, our mission is the same, and it just so happens that the mission is what Jesus says is a reliable predictor of the end times. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Matthew 24:14. What will be the end times? One world religion. The one world religion described in Revelation 17:1-18 as the great harlot will be part of the end times scenario. The term harlot is used throughout the Old Testament as a metaphor for those who follow false religion. The actual identity and makeup of the religion has been debated for centuries and has resulted in a number of different views among Bible commentators and theologians. There are convincing arguments for the one world religion being Catholicism, Islam, the New Age movement, or some form of religion not even invented yet, and an internet search will produce many more possibilities and theories. There is no doubt that some sort of one world religion under the false prophet will be a part of the end times, perhaps made up of a number of different religions, sects, and isms that are around today. Revelation 17:1-18 gives us several characteristics of the one world religion. The false religion will dominate all the peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues of the earth, Revelation 17:15, meaning that it will have universal authority, no doubt given by the Antichrist, who rules the world at that time. Verses 2-3 describe the harlot as committing adultery with the kings of the earth, referring to the false religion's influence among the world's rulers and influential people. The reference to being drunk with the wine of her adulteries may refer to those who are drunk with the power they receive from worshipping the false god of the false religion. Satan frequently ensnares those whose lust for power drives them away from the worship of the true and living God. The alliances forged by the false religion will unite church and state as never before. Verse 6 describes the harlot as being drunk with the blood of the saints and the blood of those who testify of Jesus. Whether they will be martyred at the hand of the Antichrist or by being systematically starved, believers who are on the earth during the tribulation will experience the wrath of the harlot and her power source, the Antichrist. Those who oppose the worldwide religion will be killed, and those who refuse to worship the Antichrist by accepting his mark will be unable to buy and sell, thereby making survival very difficult, Revelation 13:16-17. Eventually, the harlot will lose favor with the Antichrist, who will want to receive the world's worship for himself. He will not share the adoration of the world with the prophets and priests of the false religion, no matter how obsequious or fawning they may be. Once the Antichrist gains the world's amazed attention by his miraculous return from the dead, Revelation 13:3, 12, 14, he will turn on the false religious system and destroy it, establishing himself as God. The deception, Jesus tells us, will be so great that, if it were possible, even the elect would fall for it, Matthew 24:24.